Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Daily Dose of English. This is Tom, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. How are you feeling? Are you ready to take your English to the next level? I hope you're sitting comfortably, maybe with a cup of tea or coffee, because we have an amazing lesson planned for you. Today, we're going to dive deep into something that affects every single one of us: daily routines and time expressions. Think about it. From the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep, we're constantly talking about time and what we do throughout the day. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to confidently describe your entire day in English, ask others about their routines, and use time expressions like a native speaker. But here's the best part. We're not just going to learn these phrases. We're going to practice them together using shadowing technique. That means you'll repeat after me, matching my rhythm and pronunciation. This is one of the most powerful ways to improve your speaking skills. So get ready to use your voice. Let me tell you a quick story. Last week I met a student named Maria. She told me, "Tom, I can understand English perfectly when I watch movies, but when someone asks me about my day, my mind goes blank." Does that sound familiar? Well, after practicing daily routine vocabulary and time expressions, Maria can now have full conversations about her life. And guess what? By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to do the same. So are you ready? Let's begin our journey together. Remember, the key to success is participation. Don't just listen, speak. Repeat after me, practice out loud, and most importantly, have fun with it. Learning English should be enjoyable, not stressful. Before we talk about daily routines, we need to master time expressions. These are the building blocks that will make your English sound natural and fluent. Let's start with the basics. When we talk about time in English, we often use specific prepositions. Listen carefully. We use at for specific times. We use at for specific times. Now you repeat. I wake up at 6 o'clock. I wake up at 6 o'clock. Now you repeat. She has lunch at noon. She has lunch at noon. Now you repeat. We use in for months, years, and parts of the day. We use in for months, years, and parts of the day. Now you repeat. I exercise in the morning. I exercise in the morning. Now you repeat. He was born in 1995. He was born in 1995. Now you repeat. We use on for days and dates. We use on for days and dates. Now you repeat. I have English class on Monday. I have English class on Monday. Now you repeat. My birthday is on July 15th. My birthday is on July 15th. Now you repeat. Now let's learn some useful time expressions that native speakers use every day. First thing in the morning. First thing in the morning. Now you repeat. I check my phone first thing in the morning. Let's break this down. I check my phone. I check my phone. Now you repeat. First thing in the morning. First thing in the morning. Now you repeat. Around lunchtime. Around lunchtime. Now you repeat. I usually take a break around lunchtime. Let's practice. I usually take a break. I usually take a break. Now you repeat. Around lunchtime. Around lunchtime. Now you repeat. In the early afternoon. In the early afternoon. Now you repeat. I feel sleepy in the early afternoon. Let's break it down. I feel sleepy. I feel sleepy. Now you repeat. In the early afternoon. In the early afternoon. Now you repeat. Now that we've mastered time expressions, let's focus on morning routines. The morning sets the tone for our entire day, so it's important to know how to talk about it. My alarm goes off. My alarm goes off. Now you repeat. Here's a cultural note. In English, we say the alarm goes off when it starts ringing. It might seem backwards, but that's the expression we use. I hit the snooze button. I hit the snooze button. Now you repeat. Who doesn't love the snooze button, right? Those extra 5 minutes feel like heaven. I get out of bed. I get out of bed. Now you repeat. I stretch and yawn. I stretch and yawn. Now you repeat. I head to the bathroom. I head to the bathroom. Now you repeat. Head to is a casual way to say go to. Native speakers use this all the time. I brush my teeth for 2 minutes. Let's break this down. I brush my teeth. I brush my teeth. Now you repeat. For 2 minutes. For 2 minutes. Now you repeat. I take a quick shower. I take a quick shower. Now you repeat. I dry myself off with a towel. Let's practice in parts. I dry myself off. I dry myself off. Now you repeat. With a towel. With a towel. Now you repeat. I get dressed for work. I get dressed for work. Now you repeat. I make myself a cup of coffee. Let's break this down. I make myself. I make myself. Now you repeat. A cup of coffee. A cup of coffee. Now you repeat. Now let's talk about what we do during the day. Whether you work in an office, study at school, or work from home, these phrases will be super useful. I commute to work by train. Let's practice. I commute to work. I commute to work. Now you repeat. By train, by train. Now you repeat. I clock in at 9. I clock in at 9. Now you repeat. Clock in means to start your workday officially. Some people actually use a time clock. I check my emails first. I check my emails first. Now you repeat. I have a meeting with my team. Let's break it down. I have a meeting. I have a meeting. Now you repeat. With my team. With my team. Now you repeat. I work on a project. I work on a project. Now you repeat. I take a coffee break. I take a coffee break. Now you repeat. Coffee breaks are sacred in many cultures. It's not just about the caffeine. It's about taking a moment to relax. I have lunch with my colleagues. Let's practice. I have lunch. I have lunch. Now you repeat. With my colleagues. With my colleagues. Now you repeat. I attend a video conference. I attend a video conference. Now you repeat. In our modern world, video conferences have become part of daily life, haven't they? I meet a deadline. I meet a deadline. Now you repeat. I wrap up my work. I wrap up my work. Now you repeat. Wrap up means to finish or complete something. It's like putting a bow on a present. The evening is when we wind down and prepare for rest. Let's learn how to talk about evening activities. I leave the office at 6. I leave the office at 6. Now you repeat. I get stuck in traffic. I get stuck in traffic. Now you repeat. Nobody likes traffic, but at least now you know how to complain about it in English. I arrive home exhausted. I arrive home exhausted. Now you repeat. I kick off my shoes. I kick off my shoes. Now you repeat. This is such a satisfying feeling, isn't it? Kick off is more casual than just remove. I change into comfortable clothes. Let's break this down. I change into dash. I change into. Now you repeat. Comfortable clothes. Comfortable clothes. Now you repeat. I prepare dinner. I prepare dinner. Now you repeat. I cook pasta from scratch. Let's practice. I cook pasta. I cook pasta. Now you repeat. From scratch. From scratch. Now you repeat. From scratch means making something from basic ingredients, not using pre-made items. I set the table. I set the table. Now you repeat. I have dinner with my family. Let's break it down. I have dinner. I have dinner. Now you repeat. With my family, with my family. Now you repeat. I do the dishes. I do the dishes. Now you repeat. I watch my favourite show. I watch my favourite show. Now you repeat. I unwind on the couch. I unwind on the couch. Now you repeat. Unwind means to relax after a stressful day. We all need this time. Now let's put everything together with some longer sentences. Remember to match my rhythm and intonation. Every morning I wake up at 6:30 and immediately check my phone. Let's break this into parts. Every morning. Every morning. Now you repeat. I wake up at 6:30. I wake up at 6:30. Now you repeat. And immediately check my phone. And immediately check my phone. Now you repeat. Now the complete sentence. Every morning I wake up at 6:30 and immediately check my phone. Every morning I wake up at 6:30 and immediately check my phone. Now you repeat. After getting dressed, I usually have a quick breakfast before leaving for work. Let's practice in parts. After getting dressed. After getting dressed. Now you repeat. I usually have a quick breakfast. I usually have a quick breakfast. Now you repeat. Before leaving for work. Before leaving for work. Now you repeat. Complete sentence. After getting dressed, I usually have a quick breakfast before leaving for work. After getting dressed, I usually have a quick breakfast before leaving for work. Now you repeat. Now let's practice some common questions about daily routines. I'll ask the question, then give you a model answer to repeat. What time do you usually wake up? What time do you usually wake up? Now you repeat. I usually wake up around 7. I usually wake up around 7. Now you repeat. How do you get to work? How do you get to work? Now you repeat. I take the subway to work. I take the subway to work. Now you repeat. What do you do in your free time? What do you do in your free time? Now you repeat. In my free time, I like to read books and go jogging. Let's break this down. In my free time, in my free time. Now you repeat. I like to read books. I like to read books. Now you repeat. And go jogging. And go jogging. Now you repeat. Now it's your turn to create sentences. I'll give you a prompt and you try to make a sentence. Then I'll give you an example to practice. Describe what you do after work. Think about it. Here's an example. After work, I usually go to the gym for an hour. After work, I usually go to the gym for an hour. Now you repeat. Talk about your weekend routine. Here's a possibility. On weekends, I sleep in until 9 and have a big breakfast. Let's practice. On weekends, on weekends. Now you repeat. I sleep in until 9, I sleep in until 9. Now you repeat. And have a big breakfast. And have a big breakfast. Now you repeat. Let me tell you about Sarah's typical day. Listen carefully and afterwards we'll practice key phrases from her story. Sarah is a marketing manager who lives in New York City. Her alarm goes off at 6 a.m. sharp, but she always hits the snooze button at least twice. Can you relate to that? Finally, at 6:20, she forces herself out of bed. She stumbles to the bathroom. Stumbles means walks unsteadily, because she's still sleepy. She takes a refreshing shower that helps her wake up completely. While getting dressed, she listens to a podcast about business trends. Key phrases to practice. Her alarm goes off at 6 a.m. sharp. Her alarm goes off at 6 a.m. sharp. Now you repeat. She forces herself out of bed. She forces herself out of bed. Now you repeat. She takes a refreshing shower. She takes a refreshing shower. Now you repeat. By 7 o'clock, Sarah is in her kitchen making breakfast. She prepares overnight oats. That's oats soaked in milk. Overnight, very healthy. While eating, she checks her work emails on her phone. She likes to get a head start on the day. She leaves her apartment at 7:45 and walks to the subway station. The morning commute takes about 30 minutes. During the ride, she reviews her schedule for the day and makes a mental to-do list. Let's practice these phrases. She prepares overnight oats. She prepares overnight oats. Now you repeat. She likes to get a head start on the day. Let's break this down. She likes to get. Now you repeat. A head start on the day. A head start on the day. Now you repeat. The morning commute takes about 30 minutes. The morning commute takes about 30 minutes. Now you repeat. Now let's practice a conversation between two colleagues, Mike and Jennifer, discussing their daily routines. Mike: Hey Jennifer, what time do you usually get to the office? Jennifer: I typically arrive around 8:30. How about you? Mike: I'm an early bird. I get here by 8. Let's practice this exchange. Hey, Jennifer, what time do you usually get to the office? Hey, Jennifer, what time do you usually get to the office? Now you repeat. I typically arrive around 8:30. I typically arrive around 8:30. Now you repeat. I'm an early bird. I'm an early bird. Now you repeat. Early bird means someone who wakes up and starts their day early. There's even a saying, the early bird catches the worm. Jennifer: Wow, that's early. Do you have time for breakfast? Mike: Always. I never skip breakfast. I usually grab a coffee and a bagel from the cafe downstairs. Jennifer: That sounds nice. I usually just have a protein shake at home. Let's practice. I never skip breakfast. I never skip breakfast. Now you repeat. I usually grab a coffee and a bagel. Let's break it down. I usually grab. I usually grab. Now you repeat. A coffee and a bagel. A coffee and a bagel. Now you repeat. I usually just have a protein shake at home. I usually just have a protein shake at home. Now you repeat. Mike: Hey, speaking of routines, do you want to grab lunch together tomorrow? Jennifer: Sure. What time works for you? Mike: How about 12:30? We could try that new sandwich place. Jennifer: Sounds perfect. See you then. Final phrases to practice. Do you want to grab lunch together? Do you want to grab lunch together? Now you repeat. What time works for you? What time works for you? Now you repeat. How about 12:30? How about 12:30? Now you repeat. Let me share another story about Tom, not me, another Tom, who is a university student with a very different routine. Tom is not a morning person at all. His first class starts at 10 a.m, but he sets 5 different alarms starting from 8:30. Why 5 alarms? Because he knows himself too well. When he finally gets up at 9:15, he has exactly 45 minutes to get ready. He takes the world's quickest shower, 3 minutes maximum. He throws on whatever clothes are clean, grabs his backpack, and rushes out the door. Let's practice these expressions. He's not a morning person at all. He's not a morning person at all. Now you repeat. He sets 5 different alarms. He sets 5 different alarms. Now you repeat. He takes the world's quickest shower. He takes the world's quickest shower. Now you repeat. He throws on whatever clothes are clean. Let's break this down. He throws on. He throws on. Now you repeat. Whatever clothes are clean. Whatever clothes are clean. Now you repeat. On his way to campus, Tom stops at a coffee shop. He orders a large cappuccino and a croissant to go. He eats while walking. Not ideal, but it saves time. He arrives at class just as a professor is starting the lecture. After his morning classes, Tom heads to the library. He spends 2 hours studying and working on assignments. Around 1 o'clock, his stomach starts growling. Time for lunch. Key phrases. He orders a large cappuccino and a croissant to go. He orders a large cappuccino and a croissant to go. Now you repeat. He eats while walking. He eats while walking. Now you repeat. His stomach starts growling. His stomach starts growling. Now you repeat. Did you know that daily routines vary greatly between cultures? In Spain, for example, many people have a siesta in the afternoon. Shops close and people go home to rest. Dinner might not be until 10 p.m. In Japan, the morning routine often includes radio calisthenics, group exercise done to music. Many companies do this together before starting work. It's a great way to energize everyone. In Scandinavian countries, fika is an important part of the daily routine. It's a coffee break, but it's more than that. It's a moment to slow down and connect with others. Let's practice some cultural routine expressions. In Spain, people take a siesta after lunch. In Spain, people take a siesta after lunch. Now you repeat. Japanese workers do morning exercises together. Japanese workers do morning exercises together. Now you repeat. Swedes have fika twice a day. Swedes have fika twice a day. Now you repeat. Life isn't always predictable, right? Let's learn how to talk about when our routine changes. Usually I wake up at 7, but today I overslept. Let's practice. Usually I wake up at 7. Usually I wake up at 7. Now you repeat. But today I overslept. But today I overslept. Now you repeat. I typically cook dinner, but tonight I'm ordering takeout. Break it down. I typically cook dinner. I typically cook dinner. Now you repeat. But tonight I'm ordering takeout. But tonight I'm ordering takeout. Now you repeat. Most days I exercise, but sometimes I'm too tired. Let's practice. Most days I exercise. Most days I exercise. Now you repeat. But sometimes I'm too tired. But sometimes I'm too tired. Now you repeat. Let's learn some useful phrases about managing our time. I'm running late. I'm running late. Now you repeat. I'm ahead of schedule. I'm ahead of schedule. Now you repeat. I need to manage my time better. I need to manage my time better. Now you repeat. I'm trying to stick to a routine. I'm trying to stick to a routine. Now you repeat. Time flies when you're having fun. Time flies when you're having fun. Now you repeat. This is a common saying that means time seems to pass quickly when you're enjoying yourself. Let's practice talking about our regular habits. I make it a habit to exercise daily. Let's break this down. I make it a habit. I make it a habit. Now you repeat. To exercise daily. To exercise daily. Now you repeat. I'm trying to break my bad habit of staying up late. This is longer, so let's practice in parts. I'm trying to break. I'm trying to break. Now you repeat. My bad habit. My bad habit. Now you repeat. Of staying up late. Of staying up late. Now you repeat. I've gotten into the routine of meditating each morning. Let's practice. I've gotten into the routine. I've gotten into the routine. Now you repeat. Of meditating each morning. Now you repeat. Wow, we've covered so much today. Let's do a quick review of what you've learned. You can now talk about your morning routine. From the moment your alarm goes off to when you leave for work. You know expressions like hit the snooze button, get dressed, and grab breakfast. You can describe your workday using phrases like clock in, attend meetings, meet deadlines, and wrap up work. You've learned how to talk about evening activities, kick off your shoes, prepare dinner, unwind on the couch, and get ready for bed. Most importantly, you've practiced using time expressions naturally. You know when to use at, in, and on. You can say things like first thing in the morning, around lunchtime, and in the early evening. But here's the thing. Learning English is like going to the gym. You can't just do it once and expect results. You need to practice regularly. So here's your homework. Tomorrow morning, as you go through your routine, describe what you're doing in English. Say it out loud. Now I'm brushing my teeth. Now I'm making coffee. Now I'm checking my emails. Record yourself describing your daily routine. Listen back and notice where you can improve. Are you using the time expressions correctly? Is your pronunciation clear? Find a language partner and ask each other about your daily routines. Use the questions we practiced. What time do you wake up? How do you get to work? What do you do in the evening? Remember, every expert was once a beginner. The difference is that they kept practicing. You're already on the right path by completing this lesson. If you enjoyed this lesson and want to continue improving your English, don't forget to subscribe to Daily Dose of English. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss a lesson. We post new videos every week to help you become more confident and fluent in English. Also leave a comment below telling us about your daily routine. What time do you wake up? What's your favourite part of the day? We love hearing from our students around the world. And hey, if this lesson helped you, share it with a friend who's also learning English. Learning together is always more fun. This is Tom from Daily Dose of English, reminding you that every day is a chance to improve your English. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and remember, you've got this. See you in the next lesson. Bye for now.